And we'll also be recording this, guys, so just to let you know. Okay. I'm going to continue where I left off. We would also like to thank everybody for coming in, and we'll be recording this. And later on, it'll be placed on the councillor's Facebook page and his YouTube page. The councillor today will be sharing important updates and information. This call is also to hear from the community about their concerns and provide feedback on issues that matter to Ottawa's ACB communities. Today, we have Lise Pascal Inamucho, who is going to assist us with French translation. Lise will be in the chat. If you have any questions or comment, please type them in the chat in French. I will go to the land acknowledgement. So we recognize that Ottawa is located on the unceded and unsurrendered land of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We extend and respect all First Nation, Inuit, and Métis people for their valuable past and present contributions to this land. It is also important to honor and respect those ancestors who lived on this territory for millennia and whose culture and presence have nurtured and will continue to nurture the land. I'll now move to our ancestral land acknowledgement, which also recognizes that the continent of Africa as the cradle of humanity. We extend and respect all people who identify as African, Caribbean, and Black, and the contributions they have made to the development of human civilization. We recognize that we are in the very latter part of the UN Decade for People of African Descent, and under the themes of recognition, justice, and development, we take this opportunity to reflect on our current condition in this country, and we continue to work with our allies towards making long-term improvements to the lives of our diverse people on this shared land. Just a couple of meeting guidelines, folks. We kindly ask that there's no interruption when others are speaking, so please hold all your questions until the floor is open to folks to speak. There will also be an opportunity for Q&A in this meeting. Everybody knows to put themselves on mute. For those of you who aren't in the Zoom platform and you're calling in, please just raise your hand, like come on camera and raise your hand if that's possible. Again, for Francophone speakers, please do type your question or comment in the chat. Lise Pascal will be happy to translate for you. If you have questions about Ward 13, which is Rita Rockcliffe ward, if it's a specific question or concern, please contact the office by emailing Rita Rockcliffe Ward at ottawa.ca or calling 613-580-2483. We won't be able to address any of those concerns on this specific call, but if you do email or call that number, they will be able to get back to you. Lastly, this town hall does center the voices of Black people, communities, and families, and we ask that you be mindful and respectful during this town hall meeting. The town hall was curated and produced with the B3 lens, Black-led, Black focus, and Black design for Ottawa's ACB communities. It is a conversation to hear your thoughts and concerns for these community members. So again, we want to welcome you. And if you ever need to email me, my email is sophia.jacob@rito-rockcliffe.ca. So in the agenda, we have gotten through those pieces. So our first speaker, the councillor was going to make a few remarks. He will do so a little bit later in the program. I'm going to go to our first guest speaker, which is Ken Campbell with Jaku Combent. He's going to be talking about the Youth Mentorship Program and Ujima Job Fair. So Ken, I'm going to hand it over to you.
All right, so thank you, Sophia. Thank you for making this possible and for inviting me to say a few words.
We don't see you, Ken.
Oh, 1 second. Just give me a second. Let me just get my camera on here so everybody can see me. Yes, my lighting is not the greatest, but I was saying thank you very much for the organizing this town hall meeting online. And thanks for the invitation to say a few words about the work of Jaku Combent. Jaku Combent is been around in Ottawa for quite some time, since 2000. And over the course of that time, we have slowly and methodically developed a number of programs and services that is geared towards the African Caribbean community. And the work that we have done and the feedback from our community partners has been very positive and very encouraging. And so what I want to do is just basically, for those who have, I recognize most of the names that are here, so most of you have heard of Jacucumbit, but just in case that you've never heard about us and who we are, but we are a nonprofit, community-based, family-focused, Afrocentric organization that provide programs and culturally sensitive programs that is geared towards our children, youth, and adults in our community. And the whole goal is to empower our community to help to build and sustain a more vibrant, a more dynamic Black community, which benefit the entire society and country in which we live. So over the years, what we have been able to do very successfully is to develop sustainable programs, because I figured that was one of the challenges that we were having. We have events, but we feel that programs were absolutely essential in order for us to continue to do the work and to have the impact that is so necessary in our community. And so some of these programs I'm just going to highlight very quickly is that over the years, over a decade or so, we've been running a very successful tutoring program called Black Star Tutoring. And this program came about through a collaboration with us working with Carleton School of Social Work, looking at what are some of the challenges and the needs that were facing Black students in both public school board. And after doing a number of research for us and some work group for us, they were able to say, hey, we spoke with Black educators, we spoke with a number of Black parents, and we spoke with a number of Black students. And these are some of the issues that they identify from their own perspective that they were having challenges. And one of the recommendations was you need a mentorship program to be developed, as well as a tutoring program. So based upon that research, that document, that paper that they did for us, we started the Black Star Tutoring program. And it took a while to kind of take off, but over the course of a decade, it slowly started to build momentum. And we're very proud to say that now that we have a really good relationship with the Catholic School Board and the Public School Board to provide, currently providing over 170 tutoring one-on-one to over 170 students from grade 3 to grade 12. And the subject that we provided tutoring in is in math, English, French, and science. So we match these students that need that extra help, that extra support, connect them with university students that can provide a one-on-one tutoring. That's been going on very strong. So we hope to continue that because we feel that it's something that is very impactful and very meaningful and have a direct positive result for the students. The feedback so far has been tremendous from the teachers that they've seen the student having a greater sense of well-being, self-confidence, and that their grade has improved tremendously. So we're very proud of that. We also run a mentorship program that provides support to young Black youth who need that kind of father figure, that role model in their life. And that's a program we've been running for the last 6 years. And it's connecting Black youth with professional people in the community that they can identify with, that looks like them, that can reinforce the idea that they too can be successful. And this mentorship program also provides support around employment. If young people are looking for work, especially if they're in high school and they're looking for their first work or co-op, we can connect them to those resources. And as well, if they need any academic support, we can link them to the Black Star Tutoring program. And if the support that they need is not within we are not in Jacucumbit, then we can refer them to other community partners that we work with. So the mentorship program is a very successful program. In connection to that, the Ministry of Social Services also fund a program called Provincial Youth Outreach Worker. And this is working specifically with Black youth with mental health issues, and that can provide clinical support and short-term counseling. So we do have a worker that goes into a number of schools and speak with the parents, or speak with the students, and in some cases speak with the parents as well, and just to provide any kind of support these young Black youth need, and to provide if they need to speak to someone, if they need any kind of resources that can help them to move ahead. So we provide that clinical support for them as well. But not to outdone, we feel that it's important when we talk about working in the community, that it must involve the entire family, not just youth, not just children. So we do run a very successful senior program, Call Me, Let's Chat. That's the name of the program. Call Me, Let's Chat is a very dynamic program. So it engaged a number of Black seniors across Ottawa. In fact, we have seniors outside of Ottawa that participate because a lot of this is done online. Before the pandemic, we would meet in person, drop in for the seniors. After the pandemic, then we said, what are we going to do with these seniors? We have to keep them involved. We have to keep them engaged. We have to make sure that they're not isolated, that they have someone they can talk to and they can still feel like they belong. And so we actually purchased a number of tablets. We did a training with about 80 seniors. And at first it was challenging, but after a while they become experts. So they meet 3 times a week, every Monday, every Wednesday, and every Friday. And they do their online exercise classes. They talk about topic of interest to them. And they also look out for each other. And it's become a space where the seniors also send out greetings and birthdays to each others and to families and friends and so forth. So we're very proud of that, that we're able to connect the seniors. And whenever we have any in-gathering functions, then the seniors themselves tend to come out and participate in it. So we want to involve the seniors, the youth, and the children. The children comes about through a very successful summer camp that we run. We just finished our March break camp, and this is geared towards the younger kids. So overall, what Jacko Community has been doing is to make sure that we provide sustainable programs that have real impact in the life of the children, in youth, in adults, and in seniors, and also work with our strategic partner outside of our community. So the last thing I'm going to mention, which is very, very important, I want to share with each and every one of you, is that we did recently receive some funding from the city of Ottawa to do a very dynamic program around entrepreneurship. And this is key, this is absolutely essential, because a lot of times when we talk to young people or when we have a conversation, we're not talking about entrepreneurship, we're talking about, let's go find a job, let's go work for someone else, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we want to encourage our young people to start to think that they too can become a business owner, they too can start a business, they too can get the resources, that tap into the resources. There's tremendous amount of knowledge and expertise, even among us right here and outside in the Black community, that can provide all that information that is necessary to help young person or a business owner to be successful. So I'll ask one of my colleagues, Fred Sherman, to kind of share with us a little bit about why this entrepreneur innovation program is so essential and so important in the work that Jacko Community is doing. So Fred, if you don't mind, if you can just take it from here and just expand on what that program is all about.
Thank you very much, Ken, and obviously thank you to the councillor for giving us this opportunity to kind of share experiences and insights. And as Ken mentioned, we kind of trying to tackle that aspect of community empowerment through the entrepreneurship core as well. Just last week, we had a tremendous Ujima job fair that kind of covered that part of it in terms of getting people to go out there and get jobs. But the other side of it, everybody may not be, inclined to go and work for government or work for any of those big employers around here. So we also know that within us, there's this spirit within Black people, people of African descent, there's a spirit for entrepreneurs, and that goes way back. And so we're trying to tap into that. I think Ken always references Kwanzaa, and one of the principles is that of Ujima, which is about collective working responsibility, and Ujama is also about cooperative economics. So along that course, we set out 2 cohorts ago to kind of establish what we wanted to do was provide the best possible program of its kind. So we went out forensically and audited all the programs in the area. We even went and looked at some that are happening in Toronto and other parts of the country that were perceived as successful, and kind of hammered together something here, crafted together something here that kind of focuses again on best practices and lessons learned, educational training, learning resources. We thought we'd also bring a practical aspect of speaker presentations, a mentorship component, also the undergird of employment fundamentals, all together to kind of equip youth with the knowledge and the practical skills to and tools to kind of begin shaping their own futures. And so, like I said, we've had 2 so far, and we've been able to kind of fine tune and sharpen as we go forward. And we're about to kind of launch the 3rd one coming up in I believe it's April 15th. And so what we've kind of figured out as well is to kind of again hone and sharpen who we're specifically talking to. So we're looking at 18-year-olds to 30-year-olds. I guess that's one of the technical definitions of young people, to kind of get a sort of a more concentrated teaching aspect. But the key thing is, and I'll use this opportunity on behalf of Jaku Hama to tell you guys to kind of check out the site and look and learn a bit more about it. But again, we're driving and trying to get and deliver the best possible program. When we started thinking about this, is why I just show up and deliver something. Let's try to do the best. So that's what we're aiming for. So if you know of young people between that age, you can be in school, you can be, you have a job already, but you know, if you have that entrepreneurial instinct, but not just that, but you've actually manifested it in some way, whether you at the lowest end, you tried to build something and market it. Did you build a website and try to push a product? Did you create, you know, you were into the music space, were you doing stuff there? So all those things, anybody who's that entrepreneurial spirit, we're trying to kind of get folks to get up there, and you can go outside and look at all the economic metrics that, you know, entrepreneurism has. And I also use this opportunity to kind of, if I can reference one of our new programs that's coming up, which I think you'll speak about with our colleague Otis Copez here. And that again follows with the job market component. Ujima as well as the BYEI, the Black Youth Entrepreneurship and Innovation Project, which is the Ujama Cooperative Economics. And so, Otis, if you can reflect a couple of seconds on the financial literacy component, I think it would be helpful to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on. Hope everybody can hear me. The purpose of the financial literacy in which Fred is speaking about is really to ensure that the community has a great understanding and a better understanding of finances, how credit impacts their future, and what it is that we actually need from a societal perspective to ensure that they are doing the best with what they're doing at an early age. In spending over 20 years in the financial industry, what I've seen very, very clearly is which groups of people have more knowledge when it comes to finances than others. Within the Black community, this is one of the areas in which we absolutely need to really focus in with our youth, as well as some of the people that maybe have lost some of their credit skills throughout their journey in their life. So the purpose of this is really to give people a clear understanding of what is going to happen when they have potentially bad credit, or what they're doing with spending. So to get them a better understanding of what they're using in their spending at an early age, so they have clear direction. And also, to be honest, some of the tips and tricks that other businesses, financiers have that we may not have in the community. It's really to spread the love to ensure that they have this as well too. So my view is always that it starts with education, financial literacy for our people. Prior to doing anything else, let's get the basic knowledge of stuff. And we've seen a lot of great responses to where this is going. And we're extremely excited to really start to provide our people the knowledge required to start up their lives in a proper manner, so they're not trying to dig themselves out of a hole. Thank you so much, Fred, for allowing me to speak in, and Ken.
That's great. Thank you guys so much. This was a really, really good presentation. Jaku Convent's been around for quite some time, and they've been tutoring everybody's kids and having everybody's kids at their camp. So it's been an amazing program, and it's an amazing organization. So thank you so much, Jaku Convent. So really supporting the ACB community and their youth. And you guys can see that the theme today is youth entrepreneurship, business, and just supporting our youth on their journey through employment. Up next, I'm just gonna revert a little bit with the guest list. I'm just gonna have Cassandra Auguste go next. She's with her kid and she's driving. If you guys are okay with that, just bear with us. She's gonna be talking about the second annual Black Business Expo that's gonna be happening on August the 30th. So Cassandra, if you're there, go ahead.
I'm going to be sharing my screen. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about Ottawa's second Black Business Expo. So to begin, it's organized by its time events management, which is
Cassandra, Cassandra, can you hear me?
Consumer events company.
Cassandra,
Also social enterprise, which
can you hear me?
was launched in 2020, dedicated and committed to executing quality events that will help people, businesses, organizations, and service.
Just sounds like she's breaking up.
Yeah?
Yeah, you sound like you're breaking up.
Yeah, it might be better if Cassandra can just at least turn off her video.
Yeah, if you shut off
Her
your video,
videos-
Cassandra, you might be
I
able
think
to.
her video is off.
Okay, let's see. Oh, wait 1 second. Oh, we might have lost Cassandra. One quick sec. I'm just going to check.
If we did, I'll just take a moment to say hello as she reconnects. Apologies, everyone. I was at the Children's Powwow this morning with grand entry at the Shaw Center. Obviously, ensuring that we have good outreach with the Indigenous community. My apologies for being a little bit late. Grand entry went a little bit long, but it's important for us to have outreach to obviously all communities, especially minority communities in the city. And I think it's important for us to have that outreach with the Indigenous community. So I also want to acknowledge that we are in the unceded and unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. And I see Cassandra has joined us, so we'll probably go back to her. But I wanted to say thank you so much to Ken, Fred, and Otis. Like, what you're doing is very important. The work that was undertaken with the job fair at City Hall was very important. It's important that we ensure that our youth have opportunities to the best employment scenarios in the city, and you are making that happen. And also close to my heart, having been an entrepreneur, is the work that you are doing with community members to strengthen business, small business, and personal finance. And that's, you're speaking my language. I remember being invited early in the last term before the pandemic hit, to a financial conference, and holding up some Monopoly money and saying, I can't remember, it was like $100. And I asked people, what do you see? And I told them, I see, $10,000 when it's compounded over multiple years. That would allow you to either retire or to do other things, invest in businesses, and create generational wealth. So I want to really thank you for that. That's absolutely important. It's an absolutely important message. And that is really going to be massively beneficial. Many of the challenges that the Black community and other communities, frankly, have are due to a lack of wealth and a lack of generational wealth transfer. And to work on that component is one of the most important ones that we can really focus on. So I really just want to thank you for that. And now, hopefully, if Cassandra has worked through some of the technical issues, maybe we can throw it back to her, because that's a continuing dialogue. The idea of a Black Business Expo really excites me. The first one that we saw was just incredible. The second one is going above and beyond in terms of its location. And so I'm really excited about this project, and not like our office did with providing some support to the job fair. We also want to find ways to provide tangible support to the Black Business Expo. So Cassandra's back, and I will yield the floor to her.
To hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'll share my screen again.
Okay, I don't know if you want to share your video though, just in case it goes out.
See my screen?
Not yet.
My suggestion would be maybe turning off the video, but sharing the presentation if that's actually possible, to conserve your bandwidth, and maybe that will improve the audio.
Video, hold on.
Only if that's possible.
Here's the sugar bush, so I think that it is sharing.
So we do see the screen. I was just wondering if it was possible for you to turn off your video, and maybe that would conserve a little bit of bandwidth, and then we'd hear you better.
There you go. Ooh.
Perfect.
Time Events Management is a Black-owned management of consumer events company, which was launched in 2020, dedicated and committed to executing quality events that will help people, businesses, organizations, and service providers reach their growth initiatives through various networking, social, and consumer events. So it was launched by myself during the pandemic. I was originally trying to organize a gala to recognize Black men in the community. And the pandemic happened, so I had to cancel the event. However, one thing I found when everything happened with George Floyd, I found that our community there was kind of a uplift within our community to want to support each other and to be there for each other. And I was also launching my business at the time. And I wanted to be conscious about I told myself, why not use the space that I have and use it as a space where we could reunite multiple Black-owned businesses. And we ended up organizing the Black Business Expo. Second. Oh. Black Business Expo. So following the turnout of last year's Black Business Expo, we realized that there was a need in the community for something like this. So the team got together to organize Ottawa's second Black Business Expo. So last year we had 64 Black-owned businesses that reunited at the two businesses right now that have registered to be part of the expo. For some general information, so the expo date this year will be held on Sunday, April 30th, between the hours of 10 and 6 p.m. We have several on this section, which will have local hair. We also have our legal and financial services, which will have mortgage agents, section which will have general contractors from our community, our art, fashion, and style section, which will have local community service providers and centers, creators. We also have a few young entrepreneurs that have joined the expo this year. And of course, Taste of Our Own, which will have local restaurants and caterers providing food from varying cultures. So the event location, like I said, it's at the EY Center. It's a very big space to communicate. And also on the main stage, there's going to be a live podcast hosted by Donna Yitzi and DJ Prosper, who will be interviewing different Ottawa communities.
Cassandra, we can't hear you any longer.
It looks like we lost Cassandra, but
Okay,
she might
chipped out.
rejoin.
Okay,
But,
she'll probably rejoin later. I think Cassandra's still here, but I think there's the audio we lost as well. We'll
Yeah.
go to our next speaker for now, and it was Ruben Nashali. Ruben Nashali is with Social Planning Council of Ottawa and as well with ANYO, and he's going to talk about Social Planning Council's youth training program and the ANYO soccer club. So go ahead, Ruben.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ruben Nashali, and I'm from Social Planning Council of Ottawa. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I'm here to talk about the Social Planning Council of Ottawa and the program that we deliver for youth. And I'm seeing familiar faces as well, and I think the majority of you are aware of what Social Planning Council of Ottawa does. We are a charitable organization that was started some years back, 1928. And the main mission is to provide the residents of Ottawa with the means to exercise informed leadership on issues that affect their social economic well-being. And through that mission, then we deliver a bunch of programs in the community. But for the sake of today's meeting, I would focus on the youth programming that we deliver currently. So we conducted a social research 4 years ago, and it was to determine the core barriers of youth employment, particularly focusing on the racialized Black and Indigenous youth. And one of the key highlights that came from that research was a lack of experience. And regardless of either the youth had education or no education, well, they will have different levels of barriers getting access to employment. But even the trend that came from that research was that even those with education still face tremendous barriers to gaining a meaningful employment. There was a huge percentage of youth who were either underemployed or unemployed, regardless of having a college diploma or university degree. So, given the results of that research, we launched an unemployment program after we received funding from the federal government, and the employment program aims to train youth in specific field, and we had 4 field concepts right now. One is entrepreneurship, another one is IT, communication and marketing, and the other one is social services. And what we do here, we bring in youth and we give them basic trainings. Like if someone has finished IT or communications, maybe give them additional CompTIA or these other Google certification, and those other complementary certification that they might need for them to be employable. And we give them 4 weeks of paid training, and after that we put them in placement, and the placement usually 12 to 24 weeks, and it's also paid, unfortunately, minimum wage, but at least make them to earn a little bit while they gain the experience. And I really love what Kenneth first spoke, that like when you're delivering youth programming, it's very important to also include the family. One, and that's what we realized in the first years of launching the employment program. There are a lot of determinant factors to a youth success in their life, and family being one of the key component of the youth social environment. We tend to engage the family as much as we can, and the family so that the family can be our ally as well as supportive to the youth employment or even entrepreneurship success. And some of the key barriers, of course, a good number of racialized youth live, for example, in subsidized housing, and if they're 17 or 18 years old, once they find a job, then that might have implication to that boy's family and the rent that they're paying. So trying to navigate all those dynamics to the families and children and the youth, trying to even explain these factors before they join the program, then lead them through when they're in the program. That has been really an important part of the program. And with the other side of entrepreneurship, we after the trainings and they go for placements in either a business of their interest or what they've been aiming to do. What do? We follow up with a micro grant that is geared towards supporting them if they are thinking to start a business or even launching a business based on their interest. Then we provide that coaching support to the youth and trying to see, okay, what steps can they start with, pairing them with already existing entrepreneurs, immigrant entrepreneurs or Black entrepreneurs in the city, so that they can provide that feedback and consultations as they try the entrepreneurship journey. An additional component of our employment training program is something called the Youth Economic Incubator. And the Youth Economic Incubator that SPC has is a drop-in that we host every Fridays. And we started 2020, and it was in the pandemic, so we started online. And up until now, it remained online. Sorry, I have a gentleman here. Okay. No. Okay, no. So the youth incubator, employment incubator is doing a drop-in session where all these youth will meet weekly on a Zoom call and pairing the youth with appropriate mentorship, providing them with the social connection network so that they can be meeting their peers as well as mentors and discuss. And sometimes we have short employment trainings or even short certification trainings that youth want to take, and we use the economic incubator as a platform to deliver those programs. And it was through those youth incubator where you then come together and discuss some ideas, share some important links and networks. And 2021, that's where the idea of the soccer program came. And it was after, like, the majority of the youth there were immigrants, like they either came to Canada 2 or 3 years and they have a very small social cycle. And what we thought, can we have this type of gatherings in the summer so that all the youth can be meeting in a place and socialize? And to connect to that discussion, we started a soccer tournament. And what we do, we recruit youth, mainly racialized youth from different neighborhoods and communities, mostly low income neighborhoods, and pair them into teams depending on their neighborhoods, then participate in a tournament all through the summer and winter months. And what we really do there is bringing youth together, let the youth network and create networks, as well as participate in the social activities. with an aim of them increasing the social capital there. And and of course we are hoping to continue with the program, and March of this year we were at the Social Planning Council of Water. We were lucky to be included in the safe community grant. So we will be receiving some funding to support youth programming, mainly programs that are focused toward Black and racialized and Indigenous youth. And we are hoping to expand the networking and the networks and impact as many grassroots groups as possible, so that we can expand on the reach and the number of youth that benefit from the program.
Thank you, Ruben. Is that the end of your presentation?
Yes.
And I see baby Simba has joined us, so this is good. Starting very young. I'm so proud. Okay, so we have our next guest speaker. Actually, I think Cassandra is back. Cassandra, are you there?
Is this better? Do you guys hear me better
Cassandra,
now?
this is amazing. Okay, so if you can try to share your screen but talk here, this would be perfect.
I'm not sure how much did you guys hear?
We've
how
got
far
the
back
first,
should I go?
we got the first 2 minutes, so maybe you want to just share from your second screen.
Okay, perfect. But you might see a bunch of other stuff, but I'll just leave it at that so that we can go. So I spoke, you guys heard about It's Time events and what our mission and everything. The Black Business Expo, we've reached our 100 vendors. We have 105 actually that have registered so far. So we're very happy to have reached our goal. So the expo date is on April the 30th from 10 to 6. Our vendors will be setting up the day prior to. So we've rented it for 2 spaces to allow for proper setup and make sure that we're very well organized. And the event is at the EY Center on Uplands, and the vendors will be moving out after. So in terms of our expo zones, this year we have 8 sections. We have the beauty and wellness, which will have local hair salons, a beautician, spas, therapists, doula. We also have our legal and financial services section, which will have mortgage agents, lawyers, insurance brokers, etc. We have our home services section, which has a few local general contractors, art, fashion, and style, which is local designers and artists. We have our community services section, which will have some vendors, local community service providers and centers, as well as our events and services section, which has event planners, decorators. We also have a few young entrepreneurs joining us this year, as well as, of course, what's everybody's favorite, Taste of Our Own, which has our local restaurants and caterers from varying cultures. So for the event location, it is a very big space to fill, and we want it to be welcoming, educational, and a fun space. So this is how we intend to fill it. First off, is going to have our 100+ vendors that are going to be on site, and we're going to have a main stage there, which will be hosted by Peggy Seville. Our main stage will also feature a live podcast, which will be hosted by Donna Itzi and DJ Prosper, who will be interviewing different Ottawa community builders. Also on the main stage will be performances by 4 local artists. At the event, there's also going to be another stage, which we're calling the workshop stage, which will have different learning sessions on varying topics, such as finance, beauty and wellness, and entrepreneurship. And our entertainment section this year is going to be hosted by DJ Mace, featuring a host of other DJs from the Ottawa community. So basically the event of the expo is to try and showcase as many services and people in our community. So that's why, like, even with the DJs, we said we want them to be not just entertaining people, but find a way for them to showcase each showcase their skill. So if anybody's looking for a DJ for a wedding, an event, then these DJs will also be showcased. So this should be able to fill our space. And because it is a big space, it's going to require a lot of hands on deck. What we did was we knew that for high school students, they need to have 40 hours to graduate from high school. So we thought, because our community is not always represented in a positive light, we contacted the French Catholic School Board and to find out if they would be willing to collaborate with us, where we could provide a platform for Black students to come and do their volunteer hours and be surrounded by their peers and people that are doing positive things, and show them that entrepreneurship is a way that they can follow instead of just the typical 9 to 5. And so I'm happy we sent out a flyer to the school board, and within a week we had 64 students registered to volunteer with us. So we had to put a stop to it because it's actually too many. That becomes a whole job in itself. But it's a good thing. As for our booth, so this is what we're telling each of our vendors, that you get a booth, it's 10 by 10, think of it as your store. If you had to represent yourself within this 10 by 10 foot space, what do you want it to look like? So they're invited to decorate their space, and if they want, we're encouraging them to also use Black service providers. So we have a few Black marketing companies in the community that have offered their services to our vendors at a discounted price for them to get their banners, their business cards, t-shirts, or whatever other thing they would like to put in their booth to properly represent their brand. And we're also encouraging our vendors to have promos, right? One of the things is it's visibility. They're going to have visibility. We're projecting to have about 1,000 people attend the event. Last year, we had close to 600 people attend. So we definitely think that this year we'll have a lot more. So we're telling them that, there's, first of all, there's the visibility that they're going to get at the event, but it's not just on the day of, right? So they will be able to have long-term customers. The fees that we're charging, so for our businesses, we've charged them $400. The ones who were our returning vendors, they are charged $300. Our nonprofit and young entrepreneurs are charged $250 for their booth space, which provides them with, they all get a few free tickets to share with their families and friends or clients, as well as a personalized flyer that's made for every single vendor for them to promote on social media, as well as, so we're saying, they'll get the brand visibility as well. And that is it. Another thing is we haven't finalized, but because last year when we had our event, we felt that a lot of our entrepreneurs didn't know that a lot of them knew each other, but didn't necessarily know that they each had businesses. So we felt that there was maybe a networking component that could be added to the event. So we're trying to finalize, but we may have on the Saturday evening after setup, a little networking event for the vendors to network with each other and, maybe find opportunities to collaborate in the future.
That's amazing,
that is
Cassandra. Thank you so much. This was really good. Some people still don't know about the Black Business Expo, but at this point in time, I'm glad everybody hung on. And Camilla, we're going to be coming to you in just a minute, but I want to pause for about 5-10 minutes to be able to take questions for either Ruben, Ken, or Cassandra. If anybody's got a question, please raise your hand. If not, then we'll go on to Camilla's presentation. No questions? Oh, Rawlson, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, not a question, but just a comment. I want to once again really thank everyone here for their initiatives around entrepreneurship and especially youth engagement. I think it's absolutely important to make these investments in our community to ensure greater prosperity for our community. And in each and every way, in terms of the presentations and the interventions by all the speakers today, talking about specific programming for youth, the job fairs, the Black Business Expo, I see all of these elements as building upon one another to strengthen capacity and potential in our community. And I know the work, you know, sometimes it's thankless, but it's not thankless today. We want to thank you for the amount of effort that you're putting in. And we just want you to know as well that you know, my office is supportive of all the work that your organizations are undertaking, all the work that you're putting in, sometimes as in volunteer efforts, even if you know, we appreciate you know, one of the efforts is a for-profit, but I think it's more you're profiting your heart in a sense, because you got to kind of build it up. But I know you know, that from what I saw when I took office to the amount of focus on entrepreneurial initiatives now, that we are making a tremendous amount of progress with the community. And the next step is just ensuring that a lot of these initiatives are sustainable, as well as those businesses, so that we can grow a generational wealth. So just a comment for me, and just so that you know, my office through Sophia and myself are monitoring these initiatives, and we're trying to see, you know, if resources align in terms of city grants, or if you know, our intervention or our presence can be a benefit. We are going to continue to provide support, and I think you know, that's been made evident through some of the previous initiatives in programming, and we're going to continue to do that because it's very important to see these programs succeed. Because when your programs succeed and these initiatives succeed, our community succeeds. So we're going to continue to press on to you know, provide the support that's possible. And I really, just from the bottom of my heart, really want to thank you for all the work that you're putting in.
Wonderful. And then we have a comment for Cassandra in the chat. Cassandra, are you still accepting vendors? And then Felicite, you'll be next. Just 1 second.
So we are closing, we're closing tomorrow, actually. So if you send, I'm just gonna put my email, our email in the chat, and send us an email, and we will send you the information package and the registration form, and you can sign up, even if payment is not received right away, but we're gonna close off our registration portion. So I'll put the email in the account, in the chat.
Thank you, Cassandra. Felicite?
Okay, thank you so much. And it's not a question. The question I have was for Cassandra, if she's still accepting vendors, but now I have the answer. But I just want to congratulate everyone and just say how proud I am to see how the community is in Ottawa is advancing. Jaku Kombit, Ken, Cassandra, and Fred and Otis, thank you so much for the presentation. We are learning a lot, and then we can see how far you've gone. That I know Jaku Kombit since a long time, so I can see how you are advancing and everything that our community can take advantage of. So we will make sure that we inform the youth of all those great opportunities. And then just we continue to collaborate. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Felicite.
Thank you.
And for Cassandra, I want to say a great congratulations from since last year. I think everybody's been watching the growth of the Black Business Expo, and you're bringing Black entrepreneurs together. Not only Black entrepreneurs, you're actually bringing Black nonprofits together as well. That's really big for the Black community. And I think your Black Business Expo is going to excel outside of Ottawa. So continue to watch for that. You know, we have big hopes and dreams for things like this to be able to grow our community, to bring that sense of family together. So congratulations to you and your team. We're all watching and hoping, and it's all great things. And for me, that would be a launch of a Black Business Week. So if you ever have that idea, take that and run as the launch of Black Business Week, and then we can all tag off of that and do our things surrounding the Black Business Expo. Amazing, guys. Okay, so we're going to go on to our next speaker. We do have Camilla. I want to say this properly. Camilla Pastran. I hope I'm not messing up your last name, Camilla.
You're doing great.
She's from Rideau Rockcliffe Community Resource Center. She's going to be talking about the Incubator 13 Youth Training Program and their services. Camilla?
Okay, thank you, Sophia. Thank you, everybody, for allowing us to be part of this meeting. I just want to confirm that you see my screen there. I'm going to share a presentation in case my accent or my call plays a trick on me. Again, thank you so much. So I'm representing Incubator 13, one of the many programs offered by the Rideau Rockcliffe Community Resource Center. Incubator 13 is focused in supporting and helping youth in the employment and entrepreneurship side so they can start with their careers, or if they want to start with their business, then we are there to support them. Okay, let me move my presentation here. For those of you who don't know where the Rideau Rockcliffe Community Resource Center is located, so it's right now where it used to be the Rideau High School. The building has been turned into a community hub. Many organizations operate there. So all of our programs are offering services from this new building. For those of you who like to visit our website, I'm leaving there our QR code for a couple seconds so you save our information, and then you can keep track of all of the programs and activities that I'm going to share with you today. Again, Incubator 13 it's an entrepreneurship and employment hub specifically for youth. Our main focus is social innovation and community participation to support our youth. Incubator 13 has 3 different pillars. So the employment, entrepreneurship, and innovation. I'm just going to walk you through these 3 different pillars so you know each service under each program, how it works. I'm going to start with our employment pillar. The first program or service that we offer to youth under this pillar is our work integrated learning experiences, or popularly known as the professional internships. These are between 3 and 4 month internships program that we offer 4 times a year for youth. Every 3 months, we are hiring between 10 and 15 youth to work across the different programs that the Rideau Rockcliffe Community Resource Center has. So you'd have the opportunity to work in areas of logistics, marketing, communications, finance, IT, community outreach. All of them are paid internships. We paid also for the training, excuse me, and we offer employment support through the internships. Of course, we don't do this by ourselves. This is thanks to the strong partnerships that we have established with different community programs like the YSB, the City of Ottawa, Causeway, OCISO as well. So our youth have the opportunity to join stepping stone opportunities. They don't need to have years of experience. They don't need to have degrees. They only need to have the eagerness to learn new skills, to start with new opportunities. And this is why we have designed this program. One of the benefits of joining this program is that as a certified employers, we offer them or endorse them with digital micro-credentials or digital certifications. In this way, they are able to show other employers or future institutions, educational institutions, that they have been learning skills. And the most important thing, that they have been using these skills with the community. And they get this entirely for free. So far, and after 2 years of launching this program, we have worked with more than 150 youth. Some of them are part of our staff members at the Community Resource Center. Some of them, they are already working in their fields, and others, they went back to school. We have a 97% of successful rate through these internships. He's Adam, one of our first interns. He joined us 2 years ago, and this is the way he describes this opportunity. And many of our youth seen this opportunity in the same way. So you can see that they not only learn their new skills, but they work with different teams, they support the community, and that they grow in personal and professional levels. And that's what we would like to have and do here for our youth. Under the employment service, we also have our job board. youth have access to these like easy to manage, easy to understand, easy to explore job board where we publish not only the internships that we offer, but any opportunity offered through a community member or to a known employer. So it's kind of, we verify that those opportunities are real, and they not only job opportunities, but volunteers, internships, apprenticeships. And because job boards are kind of becoming more and more complex every day, we try to keep it simple, minimalistic, so it's easy for you to navigate. Now, what is the benefit of this job board? Is that if you identify an opportunity that suits their skills or their interests, we can connect them directly with the employer or with the community partner that is offering that opportunity. So we make that transition easier for our youth. Now I'll move into the second pillar, which is the entrepreneurship program. We offer workshops for youth who are interested in learning how to start a business, what are the main components of opening a business, how to make their business plan solid. Incubator 13 has been offering these workshops already for 2 years, and we move away from the aspect of helping youth to launch their business. Right now, we are kind of focused on helping them to understand what are the first steps of starting a business and how to develop that entrepreneurial mindset. Many of our youth, they may be not ready to open or to start a business, but they would like to learn those skills and use those skills probably with an existing employer, or they just, you know, need to sleep on the idea of that they have, so they launch their business successfully. We are running this program in partnership with Ottawa Community Law Fund, and you have a sample of the curriculum that we are running here. So this is a 6-week program, it's completely for free. Besides the lessons, they receive the workbook, and they have hours with a mentor to solve their questions, either if they are related to the curriculum or to their business idea. Next week, it's going to be the last week of this cohort, but we are looking to have this cohort again in summer. And this cohort has been successful. We have 11 participants right now. We are meeting from 7 to 9 p.m. And we have chosen this particular schedule because we understand that many of our youth are at school, are working, or simply because this time is kind of convenient. Again, you can find the registration forms. You can find additional information about the programs that I'm sharing here with you today in our website. Another service or program that we offer for young entrepreneurs is Market 13. This is an online store operated by Incubator 13, where we work in partnership with other entrepreneurs to help them to promote their services or their products, or just to simply navigate the e-commerce world. Our Market 13 program is going under a transformation, but our team is still there to support those entrepreneurs who would like to join the benefits of the digital market. And finally, I'll move on to under the third pillar of our program, which is Innovator 13, where we are encouraging youth to think outside of the box, to find out different alternatives for them to join the labor market in different ways. The first program that we have under Innovator 13, it's the Youth Social Change Maker Entrepreneurship Program. This is an opportunity for youth to earn high school credits towards their high school diploma. And this is done thanks to the partnership with Rise Academy. This is an online and alternative high school program where youth can join online. Rise Academy will design a project for them based on the credits that they need to earn, if it's in math, in science, in art, in languages, and they're going to assign a tutor to those students. So they are going to be working for a month if they join during summertime, or for 3 months if they join in any other cohort through the year. And they're going to develop these projects, and by the end, they're going to have the opportunity to present the project to an audience, and then earning their high school credit. This program is designed for those students who, you know, they have difficulties or they don't feel 100% comfortable with the conventional school system, but they need to complete their program. So we are creating a friendly, a flexible learning environment for these youth that need that additional support, or that, you know, they have a different learning style. Why not? You can find the registration link in our website or through Rise Academy as well. And it's entirely for free. Incubator 13 and Rise Academy are covering the fees for this opportunity. Innovator 13 wants to make sure that our youth grow their digital skills, because right now with the labor market as it is, as the opportunities are there, we know that digital skills are fundamental. So our latest initiative is called Bright Future for Youth. It's a 6-week program where youth are going to learn those digital skills demanded by most of the employers right now. We are in the 2nd week of our program. They are going to learn Windows and Office, how to use these 2 platforms as a pro. Let's say that they don't want to learn about this. They would like to learn about cybersecurity for youth, or they would like to learn about cloud computing. They can join the program at any point. So they can go to our website, check what are the topics by week, and they can just register that week. It's entirely for free. Now, if they complete the 6-week program, they have the opportunity to earn a high school credit program through Rise Academy as well, because Rise Academy is involved in this project too. And if they don't want to earn high school credits, they just would like, to learn new skills, then Incubator 13 also offers different digital skills clubs where they can learn about coding, 3D design, robotics, virtual reality, or digital art in general. We do offer online sessions, and we offer in-person sessions as well. They can visit our a small community-based maker space where we have a state-of-the-art technology. We expose our youth to this technology, we teach them, and we kind of invite them to think, what can they create, how they can help the community using this technology, moving them out of, the idea of just for games. But can you start a business using this technology? Can you support your community using this technology? That's the idea of Innovator 13 and bringing you to this Innovator 13 space. It's entirely for free. They just need to reach out and let us know if they want to join one of the clubs or if they would like to join one of the in-person sessions. One of the latest initiatives of our center, the Rawlson Community Resource Center, is the microgrants. Incubator 13 is supporting this initiative, which is led by our innovator in residence, Luke Lalande, an expert in innovation. So we are offering the opportunity to youth, if they have an idea, if they live in Ward 13, or if they would like to support the community of Ward 13, to submit their application. They will have the opportunity to receive up to $1,000 to make their idea happen or to make their project happen. Now, they not only going to receive the opportunity to receive the money, but if their project is like, it needs some support or need additional ideas or need additional feedback, our innovator in residence, Luke Lalande, is there to support those youth and help them to grow those ideas to interact with the community or support their community. They can be under or over 18 years old, but the limit is 29 years old to apply to this opportunity. If they would like to apply, they will need to go directly to the Rawlson Community Resource Center website. But if they have any questions, they can reach out through Incubator 13. And Incubator 13 is also collaborating with universities. So if they're already enrolled with university, but they would like to work with the community at the same time, then we are building those collaborations. They can do it. We are working right now with Ottawa University, Carleton University, La Cité, and Algonquin College. So there is no reason, just to be away from your community. We are building these bridges between institutions and community resource centers. So we start exchanging knowledge, exchanging resources at this time. For those of you who are wondering how Incubator 13 operates, we are supported by the Ottawa Community Foundation, the RBC Bank, and the Rideau Hall Foundation. And of course, all of our operations are overseen by the Rideau Rawlson Community Resource Center. If you have any questions or if you would like to share this information with any youth in our city, remember this is entirely for free. They can visit our website. They can send us an email to incubator13@crcrr.org or visit any of our social media channels where we share what is happening every week or where we share additional resources with our youth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Camilla. It's amazing. What a conversation piece. I want to be able to go back and ask folks if they have any questions for Camilla. Can you raise your hand? I don't see any questions, but Ruben, if you're still with, oh, Hawaya. Go ahead, Hawaya.
Yes, apologize. I missed a bit of the presentation, but I just wanted to know because at the same time I'm also a francophone. I was wondering if the service, the program, is also accessible for people who speak in French.
Our organization is bilingual, so we do our best effort to serve everybody, francophone, anglophone.
Okay, thank you for the information.
No problem.
Fantastic. Rawlson and then Jerome.
I might let Jerome go first. I was just going to do some
sure.
wrap-up comments there.
Sure, Jerome?
Yeah. Hi, good day, everyone. I was just trying to find out too. I just moved from Toronto to Ottawa. It's a little bit of a new start for me, and I'm just trying to find out. And I have plans to go to the university and all of that. So I was just trying to find out how I can get a link to all of that too. Like, I speak French and English, but I'm in a new area, meaning I'm in Ottawa, a little bit new to me. That's my question.
Okay. Jerome, welcome to the city, and we are really happy to have you here. I'm going to share my email here, my business email, so you can contact me, and then we can start with an assessment and check what are the resources for you so you can start your life here in the city.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Jerome. Basira?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody, and great initiative, great program. I'm too old for it, but wish this was all available way back in the days when I moved to Ottawa. But my question, please, is this just inclusive of people in the Rideau Rockcliffe area, or it's anyone in the National Capital Region? Thank you.
The Rideau Rockcliffe, it's there to serve the Ward 13 community, but many of our programs are extended to the whole city, even to the province, and especially Incubator 13, we are allowed to serve youth who live even outside the city. And no worries, our program, even though we work with youth, we have many initiatives that serve people who is over 30 years old. Actually, this week we were launching the intergenerational digital skills program, youth helping seniors how to make use of technology in a safe way. So please, be connected if you want to reach out, and we can connect you through different services across our organization as well.
Thank you. Awesome.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Camilla. That's perfect. If all the speakers could please leave their information in the chat, that would be really great. I just want to quickly, before we go back to Councillor King, I just want to go back to Ruben to talk a little bit more about Anyo and when Anyo and the soccer team is going to be starting up, because that's always exciting to see when they're going to be launching.
Oh yeah, so we thank you, Sophia, again. We are hoping to open registration in April, and that's when registration will start. And our first, the program will start the first week of July after the high school closes. And the first weekend is kind of the day, July 1st. So we'll be starting the following weekend, which is July 8th. And you play all summer long up until the last week of August, which is August 26th. And we're hoping to have the final game, September 16th at the TD Stadium.
Fantastic. And this is all free, guys. They have free soccer all summer. There's no cost, so it's very affordable. If you want to reach out to Ruben, he'll leave his information in the chat. If there are any other questions for our speakers, this would be the time. I don't see anything. We are going to go into question and answer with Councillor King, but I think he had a comment before we go into the Q&A session.
Absolutely. Well, I just wanted to really thank Camilla for the presentation and for the work that she does on behalf of Ward 13 at the Rita Rockcliffe Community Resource Center. You know, one of the things I'm really proud of, having been a former board member before being elected of the Resource Center, is the very innovative programs that we have. And we had a lot of innovation around social enterprise, as well as food security at the center. And it was leading the city in terms of that. And now I think we're leading the city in terms of innovation and youth engagement and youth entrepreneurship. And, you know, like Camilla had said, it's not just restricted to the Ward 13 catchment area. It's also engaging youth and more people. I've seen many demonstrations of the work that they're doing with their innovator in residence, Luke as well, who I know is on the call, who I really want to thank as well, who are bringing some innovative programming to youth and opening up different vistas. It's not just about entrepreneurship. It's just about general innovation and being productive and creative. And I think that's important for our community members. Many of our community members, you know, especially in high priority neighborhoods, I'm thinking of Overbrook, you know, don't typically have access to these opportunities or these technologies, 3D printers, you know, the different types of incredible technology that people can be exposed to innovate, as well as the grants. The micro grants, I think, is an amazing project to see youth really benefit the community. So these are programs that I'm excited about. I'm excited about the fact that we have other organizations here who might be able to take advantage or have their clientele, their focused audience take advantage of this programming. And I would encourage it. So I really just want to commend the fact that we have this amazing resource, primarily for youth. And I think that we really need to take advantage of it, leverage it. And once again, I think it really demonstrates the incredible work that our resource center is doing. So I just want to, once again, I do this on multiple occasions whenever I'm at the center, whenever I drop by Incubator 13. It's an amazing space. Even as a space, it's hosted both my office as well as initiatives around the anti-racism secretariat as well. So it's just even a wonderful meeting space that the community can take advantage of. And I really just want to thank you for your time, for the presentation, and for the work that you do on a continuing basis in the community.
Thank you so much, Councillor King. Thank you, Councillor King. And so that's a really great segue, talking about the anti-racism strategy. If you can talk a little bit about that and give an update to folks here. I think folks were kind of wondering where we are with that now.
Sure. You know, I have a few slides, so I'm going to see if I can actually share my screen or share an application, and I'll talk to them. I won't go into a massive amount of detail, I don't think, about the slides or speaking to the slides. But you know, we have a strategy. We saw that actually be passed by council in June of last year. Elements of that engagement include Indigenous engagement. So one of the reasons why I was late today was because I was at a powwow, but we do believe in a strategy that ensures that there's a commitment to strong relationships with First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people, and that we ensure the development of an Indigenous-focused anti-racism strategy. So that work is being undertaken, but the strategy itself is really designed to provide a roadmap for the city to confront, remove, and prevent systemic barriers that Indigenous, Black, and other racialized people experience across Ottawa. It's designed to align with the ongoing work at the city, and it responds to community consultation and commits to ongoing community dialogue. As many of you know on this call, you know, the call to create both the anti-racism secretariat and the strategy came from the community, and the design of the plan itself came from intense community engagement. The idea here is to increase awareness and denounce hate, and to take an inward look at the city's workplace culture and to commit to further actions to address unique forms of racism. The engagement and socialization around the creation of the strategy is really impressive because it was informed by the voices of more than 1,000 Ottawa residents and staff. It utilized a community anti-racism advisory table, which will be continuing. There's an internal anti-racism planning table at the city. And the focus is a commitment to ongoing and meaningful engagement through implementation and also through proactive communication on commitments to anti-racism. The guiding principles of the strategy is an anti-racism approach, which is focused on addressing systemic racism, taking an intersectional approach, and also a systems approach, and ensuring that we are continuously engaging with communities to address the challenges that are before us, as well as taking a data-driven and evidence-based approach. So that's the key, and one of the areas that we are really going to be focused on is ensuring that what we do is evidence-based. We also want to ensure that we respond to incidents of racism in the city, utilizing all the tools that we have at our disposal, as well as ensure that we continue to build awareness and capacity in the community to address racism and to commit to racial hate healing in the city. The action plan that was approved by both the FEDCO committee, so at the time the Finance and Economic Development Committee, as well as Council, commits to a focus on specific areas, which include institutional practices, addressing challenges around governance, around housing, around economic development, around health outcomes, achieving racial equity in the workplace, and very importantly, and this has been the focus of this call, really engaging with children and youth development. In terms of strategy implementation and phasing, we are past the pre-implementation stage. So we, in that stage, developed an implementation plan and a measurement framework. We ensured that there was orientation to the council, and we established a communication strategy. We are now undertaking phase 1 of implementing the strategy, and that will entail internal capacity building and awareness, the collection of race disaggregated data for decision making, ongoing engagement and relationship building. So we'll continue to have the tables and the conversations, as well as engagements during budget time. So as you might know, in the last budget cycle for 2023, which we just really wrapped up last month, during that cycle, we held our second budget consultation for the Indigenous, Black, and racialized communities, and we'll continue to do that. My office will continue to do that. And it will be within this phase, ending at 2025, that we undertake the implementation of the action plan. The reporting for those actions go through council, through the city's senior leadership team, so the senior bureaucrats of the city, through the anti-racism secretariat, and through the anti-racism advisory table. And I get reports, being a council liaison for anti-racism and ethnocultural relations initiatives, on the progress of the strategy. So we will continue to get reports in my role, and I will continue to relay progress to the community as well as to council, but primarily staff will also undertake that role. In terms of the journey ahead, Ottawa, the vision is Ottawa being an anti-racist city where systemic racism and discrimination are no longer barriers to an individual or the collective's access to safety, resources, opportunities, and outcomes. And that, in a nutshell, is where we're at. We are now at phase 1 of implementation. What I'm really pleased to report is that in the previous budget that was just passed on the 1st of this month, there was extra dollars allocated to equity. In fact, 400,000 extra dollars was allocated to the entire equity portfolio, with $250,000 being allocated to the Anti-Racism Secretariat to deal with the implementation of the strategy. So, we're going to continue to see commitment in this term of council from the new mayor and from the new council for its implementation and implementation of all of the recommended measures, which I think total about 132 recommended actions, will be reported to back to council and in effect back to the community. So I will leave it there.
Great. Does anybody have questions for the councillor pertaining to the anti-racism strategy? Okay, I don't see any hands. So, councillor, if you could just talk about quickly, there was a question that came up yesterday for the poverty reduction strategy. It might still be just the framework, but if you could just have a second to talk about that.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things I was really proud of last term as well was community advocacy led to the creation of an anti-racism strategy, or sorry, a poverty reduction strategy, as well as a food security policy. So those were recommendations from the community that we passed on as council to city staff through the community safety and well-being plan. So that is on the agenda for the city to move forward with creating. So it hasn't been created yet, but it is. These are proposed measures that need to be created and implemented by city staff. And one of the things that we did instruct city staff to do is to ensure that there's proper community consultation before we move forward with any of those plans. So right now we have requested staff to author those plans. We said author them in conjunction with the community. So once the city starts to undertake that process and get further along in terms of writing the plans, there will be outreach to community members to ensure that inputs are made. And obviously, it will come back to council through Community Services Committee. And when it does, there will be an opportunity for the community to and residents to make comment through deputations and through written statements. So, I want to ensure that the process, and one of the things I did highlight with staff in different contexts, was that I felt that the process around the Anti-Racism Secretariat and the consultation was very successful. And we would ideally like to see that continuing model, whether it's advisory tables or just direct community inputs to shape the policies themselves. That would be what I would prefer, and that's what I'm advocating for with staff. So there has not been a report that's been tabled or written. These two reports, they're separate reports, so there's going to be a poverty reduction strategy and a food security policy. We will seek inputs from the public, the community organizations, community associations, residents before, and make sure that public consultation really feeds and shapes the reports. So we'll ensure that occurs.
Thank you. Does anybody have questions for the councillor around the poverty reduction strategy? I don't see any hands, so we're going to open the floor for questions for the councillor.
Otis Cocker said in the chat that they have a question.
Yeah, we're going to move to, go ahead, Otis, it's okay, yeah.
Thank you. It was more so about the anti-racism. I could kind of go back. Sorry, my hand wasn't working, or I couldn't find the button to press the hand. The question is more so, and I really do like the fact, Rawlson, that you spoke about data, which I think is critical for us to ensure that we're not measuring stuff or trying to attack something that we don't necessarily understand what the impact is overall. Do we know what, or do you have a line of sight in what the forms of measurement of success would look like based on what we're doing for anti-racism from a data perspective? Is it maybe hate crimes from a police service perspective? Like, how are we actually measuring the success of the program overall?
Well, ultimately, the measurement of success for me will be ensuring that, we translate the recommendations into actions. And so we have 132 recommendations. So it's going to be pretty easy in terms of both qualitative and quantitative measurement in my estimation. Not an easy process to undertake, but an easy one to measure, because either we're going to do something or we're not going to do it. And so I think the next challenge around that is ensuring that all the recommendations based on what community members has said should be focus areas need to be reflected in terms of real investments in the city budget.
Excellent.
So that's the way I'm viewing it. But as for the data itself, yes, there's going to be, we want to slice and dice and really focus on the data itself and ensure that we are achieving goals. As for the point around the police service, of course, the police service is governed by the Police Services Board, so that's something different. So hate crimes and those elements are primarily governed by police governance processes, not by City Council. But there's also another element around fighting racism in the community that we want to see advanced, and that would be the United for All Coalition. So the coalition of over 40 organizations led by the United Way that would be addressing individual acts of violence and discrimination, and we do need to have proper investments there. But what the city primarily is focused on is governance processes, ensuring that we have investments in the community and investments in key focus areas, including housing, youth development, and health outcomes. And I think increasingly, the affordable housing element will be very important. We're starting to see initiatives emerge where we can have culturally sensitive, affordable housing, especially for victims of intimate violence, as example. We'll want to see more of these investments that are focused on our communities. So I think that to me will be the ultimate litmus test. Yes, there will be data that will be able to go back to each specific recommendation or every point, and we will be able to slice and dice that and get a sense of whether we're making progress or where the gaps are. But for me, the ultimate goal is not just ensuring that we have reports, because I'm as cynical as the resident on the street, and often governments create reports and then they're tabled. I don't want to see the report tabled. We want to see action from the report. And what that will require, frankly, is a lot of advocacy, especially around budget time, to say, what are we doing in terms of housing? What are we doing in terms of health outcomes specific to communities? And so I think that that's going to be the major challenge. We had a interim budget. The council is probably less than 150 days old. We had we came in, and then literally a month after we undertook that process to just keep the lights on, in a sense. But in that process, we did get additional resources to move forward with the equity work. The challenge will be ensuring that work continues in budgets as we go forward with specific focuses on the recommended areas in the strategy.
Excellent. Thank you. And great work. Thank you.
Thank you, Otis. Messi, and then Hawaya.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, nice to see you. Just to complement what Rawlson, he mentioned, as you know, I'm part of the City of Ottawa as a CSW Governance Committee. So right now we're revising some of the key outcomes that's already mentioned on the CSWB plan. So one of our conversation would be moving forward on how we could measure the success of each parameter. So as you all know, like in the document, you'll see like goal, strategy, and outcome, but that outcome is not very clear somehow. For example, it says like access of services, like accessibility and availability is not even the same, right? So our issue is like services accessible out there, but it's not available because of the systemic barrier for racialized community. So my role actually moving forward is like, making sure everything is as a Black woman to come from like equity lens. That's very important. But what I would suggest is like the success has to be, as a success indicator has to be also clearly kind of like indicated, both the CSWB plan and the strategy, so that those documents has to be in line, so that like we'll not have a confusion as a community leader. So it's already clearly stated out. Maybe if you are interested, you can check that, but you will not see a lot of information. But as I know that like we're moving forward with more focus on how we could measure, so what are the key indicators, what are the community responsibilities, and also accountability. So we are kind of on that stage. I just want to compliment what Rawlson is saying. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that work. And that was, as you can appreciate, at the council level, we are setting higher level policy. And of course, it's city staff that will flesh out the policies. But one of the directives that I made very clear around the poverty reduction strategy, as well as the food security strategies, that we need to be able to measure. If you're aware of the first iteration of the poverty reduction strategy that we had in 2010, it was more of an advocacy document.
Yes,
and I said, advocacy is important, but here our expectation when this plan comes back is what can the city do in terms of alignment of its resources. Now, I also want to be realistic with people. In a programmatic fashion, we don't have the revenue tools to deal with poverty reduction like the senior levels of government. As example, we raise money through property taxes. We can't borrow for operations. And obviously, we can't set up, as example, a basic income program. We just don't have the revenue to do that. So we need to align with senior levels of government, yes. But as a member of Community Services Committee, I can tell you we spend over $1 billion on social services. And the question is, how are those resources aligned, and can they be better aligned to the task of achieving better goals and objectives to reduce the challenges that people face? So that's going to be very important, but we did specify that we want all of the objectives in these future plans to be measurable so that we can have those key performance indicators. They come back to council, they come back to the committee, and we see whether we are making progress or not in terms of our investments. So that's going to be very important. And so I thank you for that work. And I know, we're gonna continue to do that work.
Thank you, Councillor. Hawaya?
Hi everyone. First, I would like to say I will be cutting off soon, but I wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you to the office of Councillor King and also the support of Sophia. Last year, we did have some issue of systemic racism, and hearing now that you're still addressing this issue around the community of Ottawa. For us already last year, there was a lot of harm that was happening, and having your office being there to support us, some change happened at the school board, but there's still, again, of issues that we still need to work on. And we need, again, there's a lot of things to be changed, but the fact that your office is not only already, I'm very grateful to have participated to this event today. I still continue helping the youth and knowing there is resource to not only helping them with mentorship, but also the financial, there's so many harm happening, and at least if there's ways to help with the Black excellence and also the Black growth, I want to give positive, not always be contact for whenever there's issue, but I want also the community to grow. So I wanted to say thank you, and also the fact that some of the resources are also in French. I'm myself French, and I do connect a lot with the French community, so I'm very grateful that there is resource for everyone, and we're there like to continue to address those issues, but also to uplift the community. So yeah, thank you very much.
We appreciate that, and we appreciate what you're doing. And, you know, frankly, that's the approach we want to take. We want to ensure that the next generation have access to all the resources and all the opportunities that are possible, that they have fair access and equitable access to resources at the city, that we ensure that we invest in that, you know, that underlying foundation, which is, you know, the potential to have economic potential, better economic growth in the community, as well as, you know, the economic growth is important, but also just dignity and respect. And, you know, the idea of just being able to, you know, live your life unmolested in a way and thrive. And so what we want to do is ensure that those capacities are brought forward. And so we're going to continue to work on that. That's why this meeting specifically just dealt with youth and entrepreneurial capacity. You know, Sophia in my office is very dedicated to that. So on a regular basis, we've been holding a youth table of different organizations that are focused on the ACB communities to ensure that there's a discussion about linkages to more resources to determine where the gaps are and where you know, we need to focus on filling those gaps. But it's important for us to focus on that. I think what we want to do is ensure that generationally our community does better. And we know that we've been seeing statistics that have been talking about things going the other way. And you know, and that's discouraging. The fact that you know, the next generation is not doing as well as their parents is not a situation that we can tolerate in the city. And so we are going to be steadfast in our work, especially around economic development opportunities, to ensure that youth have those chances. And I'll leave you with this. I'm an optimist. The reason why, you know, I'm continuing with this is, number one, we know that if we don't continue with a focus on anti-racism and also ensuring that we invest in our communities, it will quickly go to the wayside. So it's important for us to ensure that we continue to focus on that, ensure that we continue to advocate for resources, ensure that we talk about the gaps in the systems, and have a strategy, have something that is systemic. Since we're dealing with a systemic problem in terms of discrimination and oppression in many of our communities, we need to have a systemic tool within the institution so that it, and I know I was talking to Fred about this a little while ago. I don't plan on being hit by a Mack truck, but if I am, you know, I can rest assured that there is an anti-racism office, there's an anti-racism strategy, and we are building a greater capacity in the community through organizations and through those programs and initiatives to provide opportunities to our youth. The other thing why I'm optimistic is because I talk at schools a lot, and I just look at these kids and I'm like, I'm blown away. I'm like, they are so smart, they're so motivated, they just need the chance. And so we are going to continue to ensure that they have the chance so that, you know, our communities just don't survive, but they thrive, and that they really contribute and they become the engine of the city in the future. Because we have to remember, you know, the demographics are going to shift rapidly. The characteristics of immigration is now defined by the global South. And we need people to succeed if we want our city to succeed, if we want the province to succeed, if we want the country to succeed. And the last element I would leave you with is that, you know, we're not asking for anything above and beyond. This is simply equity. I see the kids, I see the potential, I see, you know, the amount of contribution that they can make. I think that, you know, they will be the ones solving the problems that we confront in the future. And we've left them an unbelievable amount of existential threats like climate change. But when I go to classes, I am assured, because when I see the kids, how smart they are, that they will resolve those problems. We need to give them the opportunity so that they can do that. And so that's what I'm dedicated to, ensuring that we leave a legacy, and that legacy being our kids, that our kids have a greater opportunity to thrive and to lead the city in the future. And so I remain the optimist around this, and that's why I wanted to have an event specifically that just really focuses on what we're doing for youth and what opportunities we can provide them in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of jobs, in terms of wealth creation, and in terms of just equity and fairness, so that when they go to apply for a job at the city, they know they're not going to be rejected because of the color of the skin, their last name. They know that they are just competing, on the basis of the competency that I know that they have and the contributions that I know that they will bring to the city.
Thank you, Councillor. And thank you, Haweya. You are a powerhouse. You brought us all together to be advocates for your journey and the other youth. Thank you so much for doing that, because I learned a lot along the way, and so did the other folks who were helping amongst the advocacy group for those young children who are impressionable, and those folks, the parents who needed that support. So thank you. Continue to do that and continue to reach out to the office. Always email me or call me. You have my number, you have my email. I want to continue to support that journey, because we have to eradicate what's happening in the schools around that situation. So thank you so much. We'll take another question from Ade.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. So my question is regarding, and the city is doing good work, and I guess in some ways things are improving. So my question might sound critical of the city, but it doesn't mean that it's not 100% critical. Is what I'm trying to say. When I compare the city to Toronto, and I wouldn't give Toronto a 10 over 10. I would say maybe there are 7, but there are things that Toronto is doing that the city of Ottawa is not doing. Specifically, I'm referring to how to handle complaints when an employee of the city commits a racist act. I know I'm an optimist as well, but just to give you an idea of the scope of the problem, we just recently heard that the Canadian Human Rights Commission, that's in charge of stopping racism to Black people, are themselves being racist to Black people. So this is not a simple issue. In any event, Toronto has an independent office that handles complaints when an employee has. So what's the process for Ottawa, and shouldn't Ottawa have a similar process? Now, I would argue that Toronto should make their decisions transparent. So if a complaint comes in about racism from an employee, they have a good independent office to adjudicate that, and then they should make it transparent. And then the other question would be, so what's Ottawa doing? Why aren't we doing that? And then they also have an ombudsman, so that if the city independent office, if you're not, anyway. So the second question is that there's a regulation that says that council can jointly develop a business plan with the Ottawa Police. The last time the Ottawa Police had a business plan, I think this was 2012. This was under Vern White. So they haven't done a business plan since then, and they're required to have one. And currently, they don't have one. Now, within the regulation, I know that conventional wisdom says, "Oh, council can't speak to anything going on, Ottawa Police processes." But within the regulation, it says once every 3 years, council can, if they decide, if they so choose, jointly develop a business plan, and that would determine what the priorities for the Ottawa Police would be, what jobs they would do, what jobs they wouldn't do, and also the type of information that council wants the police board to send to them. So, for example, council could say to the Ottawa Police, any complaints that has to do with racism, we want you to send us a copy of how those complaints were dealt with. It is within council's power to make that request based on this regulation. So I hope, I've said a lot of things, but I hope my questions are coming across in terms of what I'm trying to ask.
Sure, and I'll try to answer them. So I'm not against the idea of a ombudsman. I mean, ultimately, we have to see if the city has the resources to undertake that. I mean, they just issued an excellent report around encampments in Toronto. Of course, I digress. I think our encampments policy is much more progressive than Toronto's, but notwithstanding that, I'm not against that idea. That would require some study by staff, and it's something we might have a discussion around. And I would also agree with you that we are just starting the process, when you think about it, of addressing systemic and institutional racism in a structured way. So that just was approved by council, the strategy, at least in June of last year. So it's going to take some time, obviously, through data as well to examine the best approaches forward. But there is an expectation that there be better ways of dealing with these types of complaints. I've heard complaints on a confidential basis from employees who've reached out to me to talk about some of the challenges. And, I'm relaying those challenges both to my colleagues and to staff. So, it's my expectation that we have better mechanisms to deal with that type of discrimination on top of the mechanisms that we have to deal with harassment as a corporation. As for the police service, I think that we are at a point of operational renewal. And so it might be a time to have that discussion. But obviously, I think I've said in the past, I know I said in a budget consultation to you, Ade, that, that requires consultation. And I feel some level of initiation as well, and discussion with the police service and the police services board. And right now, we are in a state of flux with the police service since we just have a new chief who took office just a while back. We are going to see the installation of a new chair of the police services board once a new committee member is appointed. So that process has not been completed, as well as there's a need for a new chief administrative officer. As you know, that post has been vacated and has been filled again by interim deputy Chief Bell as the interim CAO. So there's a tremendous amount of flux there. I don't sit on police services board any right now, but I know with the amount of flux that is there, it will take some time to get some permanency in terms of the organizational structure in place before there's any discussion about a new business plan. So I wouldn't expect that to emerge if we don't have a permanent chair and if we don't have a permanent CAO. And the CAO would primarily lead that process, regardless if assigned that responsibility by police services board and by city council. But there's a process that would be required. And I would say that would be, from my read and understanding, if it's a joint process, it's something that would have to be initiated by the police services board. Now, I know you've made deputations there, and I know that there are open minds on the board about looking at that as an approach. But not being on police services board, my input is limited. And at least from the police services or the police governance side. Just like I said, surveying that ecosystem, I think that there needs to be some permanency there before there's any substantive movement on that type of long-term planning. For it to be effective, at least I think you should have all the people in place.
That's great. Thank you so much.
So I'll leave it there. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor King. So we are going to wrap up at this point. We are, I think, on time to wrap up. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming through. Councillor King, if you have any closing comments, you can make them now, and then we'll close the session.
Well, once again, I know that I've been thanking everybody profusely, but I think that the work that's being done in the city by different organizations is absolutely impactful. You know, this being the start of my second term at council, I can tell you without a doubt that I've seen a lot of evolution in terms of what's been occurring in the community, in terms of programming, in terms of initiatives, and in terms of focus. And that's driven by the organizations that are around the table today and by the community itself. So I really want to applaud you for the work that you are doing to improve our community. It's seen not just by myself, but throughout the community. And it's a point of pride as well. You know, I talk to my colleagues and I tell them about what's going on in terms of community actions by different organizations, and people are quite impressed. So I just want you to know that we're going to continue to support what you're doing, and we're going to continue, as I said, the litmus test for us to see if we are making progress is to ensure that we put pressure on so that when we get to budgets, we see investments that go directly into community initiatives, that those investments from the city, if the city has capacity, grow. And so that's what I'm going to continue to advocate for. We have a clear mandate from the community through the anti-racism strategy, the 1,000 people who contributed the advisory table. And we have a very clear direction in terms of where to go. And we have diligent people in the community who will continue to ask questions. You know, like Ade was on the call, we welcome those questions because we need the transparency and the direction to understand some of the direction from the community. So, you know, we're going to continue to move in that direction to support what you're doing. And you know, I just want you to know that whether it's the job fair, whether it is the expo, whether it is community programming and resources through the community, through the social planning council, whether it is you know, an environment that our youth can actually take advantage of in Incubator 13. I'm very proud of the movement that we have made around youth. And it will continue to be a focus. So I want to really thank Sophia as well on this call for the work that she does on behalf of the office, especially around holding these roundtables to improve the quality of services for our youth. And I also, I'd be remiss if I did not thank Lise Pascal, who's been doing such a wonderful job on this call, providing translation for the session today. So I really want to thank everybody for taking some time out of a busy weekend to really focus on these important topics. And we will definitely follow up with you and keep you informed as to the progress that we make in the future.
Thank you, Councillor. This was fantastic. Thank you, Ken, Ruben, Camilla, and Cassandra for being our guest speakers. And thank you to Lise Pascal for doing all the translation in the chat. Thank you all for coming to the conversation. If you have any follow-up conversations or questions, email the councillor, or you can email me. I left my email in the chat, or some of you have my phone number, just call anytime. And we will definitely have another conversation like this with our ACB community coming in the next few months. I normally schedule them every 3-4 months to be able to keep up and in touch with everybody. So thank you so much. We appreciate your time and have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you. See everyone again.
Thank you.
Take care.